In the fourth part of the Treasury of the Rosary, at the 85th miracle, it is related that there was a gentleman who was tenderly devoted to the Divine Mother. He had erected an oratory in his dwelling, and there he used often to remain in prayer before a beautiful statue of Mary, and this not only during the day, but frequently at night he rose for the purpose of honoring his beloved lady. His wife, for he was married, who was otherwise a person of great piety, perceiving that her husband rose from his bed in the silence of the night, left his room, and did not return for a considerable time, became jealous, and suspected that all was not right. One day, in order to deliver herself from her anxiety, she asked her husband if by chance he loved another. The gentleman replied with a smile, "You must know that I love the most delightful lady in the world. To her I have given my heart, and I could rather die than cease to love her. And did you but know her, you would tell me to love her still more." He was, of course, speaking of the most blessed Virgin, whom he loved thus tenderly. His wife, however, became more and more uneasy, and again questioned him that she might assure herself of the correctness of her suspicions. She asked him if by chance it was to visit this lady that he rose every night and left his room. That gentleman, quite unaware of the troubled state of his wife's mind, answered in the affirmative. The lady then felt certain of that which she had falsely suspected, and blinded by passion, one night that her husband as usual left the room, took a knife, and in despair cut her throat, and shortly expired. The gentleman, after finishing his devotions, returned to his room, but getting into bed he found it wet. He called his wife, but received no answer. He shook her, but in vain. He then got a light and saw the bed saturated with blood, and his wife with her throat cut, and a corpse. In an instant the truth flashed across his mind, and he perceived that in a fit of jealousy she had destroyed herself. He instantly locked the door of the room, returned to the chapel, and there, prostrate before the image of Mary, sobbing bitterly, he cried out, "My mother, see my affliction. If thou dost not relieve me, to whom can I have recourse? Consider that by coming to honor thee, I have incurred the misfortune of seeing my wife dead and eternally lost. My mother, thou canst remedy this, oh do so." And whoever invoked this Mother of Mercy with confidence, without obtaining what he asked. For scarcely had he finished his prayer when he heard a servant calling him, "Sir, go to your room, for your lady wants you." The gentleman, in the excess of his joy, could scarcely believe the servant. "Return," he said, "and see again if she really wants me." The servant came back repeating, "Go quickly, for my mistress is waiting for you." He went, opened the door, and beheld his wife alive. She immediately threw herself at his feet, and in tears asked his pardon, saying, "Ah, my husband, the Mother of God, through thy prayers has delivered me from hell." They then went to the oratory, weeping for joy, to return thanks to the most blessed Virgin. On the following morning the husband gave a grand feast to all his relations, and made his wife herself relate the whole history, and she showed the mark of the wound which still remained, and thus all were more and more inflamed with love toward the Divine Mother.